What's up, everybody? My name is Ron Empire and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to provide you a detailed guide on how to obtain the legendary bow, the Phantom Spark. Let's take a look at the final crafted version of the Phantom Spark. This bow is currently the best ranged weapon in the game. The stats here are just amazing. Similar to the Runesong legendary sword, it has no durability. What I like about this is that you can actually shoot this indefinitely and not worry about repairing it. The other ranged weapons in the game with durability requires you to be a bit more conservative and mindful of shooting air targets, because you can consume durability even if it doesn't land a hit. The repairs can be costly and time consuming. Melee weapons with durability doesn't have this problem. You can swing at air targets and they don't consume durability cost at all. You can even chop roots and break chests with the melee weapons, and they don't consume durability. So let me show you what I mean here. So here's a fireball staff that's got, durability on it. It's got 250, right? And if you swing the or shoot this, right, and you're shooting air targets like this, see how it actually, and I did 4 shots and it basically drained it by 4 durability. Now with a melee weapon, I can smack all I want and attack, and it doesn't lose any durability, right? So if you use, let's say, like, the fireball staff on a crate, right, it basically took away a durability. Now, the melee weapon, you can actually attack the crate and it takes no durability. Let's see that? I mean, okay, so obviously, if you have like the Runesong legendary weapon as a melee, crafted, you don't need to use the melee sword. But I'm just pointing out the difference here between these two, right? And so if you're using like a regular ranged weapon in the game, you want to try to get the Runesong sword, because you don't actually have to worry about this whole durability thing. Okay, so let's take a look at this other ability here. 20% chance to summon a ghost caveling when killing any enemy, right? The Phantom Spark has a unique special ability that summons a ghost scholar caveling, similar to the ones that you find in the ancient city. Now, these scholar cavelings can fight for you and heal you even, right? So the ghost isn't just like decorations, or it's not just cool because he spawns after you kill somebody. He actually is functional. He'll last for like 5 to 10 seconds, and he hangs out and assists you in combat. Now, you can actually summon an army of these ghosts, provided you kill enough mobs. So let's say if you walk into a room full of mobs, using the ranged weapon, this Phantom Spark can actually help turn the tides to the fight. So let's hear, I'm going to use this as an example to show you. And see if we can summon a ghost here. There we go. Okay. And see how he's attacking for you, which is kind of neat. All right. All right. So now, I actually just summoned only one. Sometimes you might actually get like a whole room full of ghosts. So it's not just one. Okay. So how do you obtain the Phantom Spark? Let me pull up my diagram that I created to help me explain this process for you. The process for crafting this weapon is a bit more involved and gated than the previous legendary weapon. The recipe for this weapon is not something that you can buy from the merchant. You have to search for the recipe. The recipe is actually hidden in a secret vault that you have to locate in the Sunken Sea. If you manage to find this vault early, right, you'll realize that it requires a special key to unlock the door, since the vault door and the room itself, all the walls, are indestructible, so you can't break into it. All right. So the first step is finding all the components to craft an admin key card that is used to unlock the vault. There are 3 unique keycard components located at 3 different ancient cities. With each keycard component, there is a corresponding bow component. You will need these to craft the bow. All right. So once you hit up these 3 other cities that house the keycard components and the corresponding bow component, you'll you'll need to obviously merge them together. Right? Let me hide this and I'll show you here. And this is the empty crystal. And you can buy this actually off of the merchant. So when you buy this off the merchant, this is kind of like your first, step towards the legendary bow crafting process. But it doesn't actually craft the bow itself. And so you're wondering, okay, well, here's a hint. 3 things that you need to get this empty crystal to work. And let me pull up this chart again. So in my chart here, I have the diagram showing the shutdown protocol anomaly report. This is exactly the same thing that you'll see from the empty crystal if you buy the crystal, or even just look at it. You don't actually have to buy it because it obviously takes up space in your inventory. You don't need to buy it until you actually have the 3 components. But once you have the empty crystal, right, this is the second step, right? After you get the 3 cards. You can then craft the admin key, and then the third step is finding the vault if you haven't found it already, and then take this admin key to open the vault door. Okay, so once you're inside the vault, you'll be able to loot the glyph parchment, and it's actually inside a Titan chest, the same Titan chest that you get from Asius, the boss, right? Now, once you get the glyph parchment, it'll say like you'll need 100 octarine bars, 20 ancient gemstones, and 3 bow components, which I've actually listed the bow components here to show you: channeling gemstone, fractured limbs, and energy string. And the thing about these bow components is that they go along with the key components, and you'll actually always find the shutdown protocol with the channeling gemstone in the first city. The anomaly report, fractured limbs, will always be in the second city. The overwrite transcript and energy string will always be in the third city. And then that's it. You just take the recipe with the materials I've mentioned and right-click, and then it will craft the bow. The real challenge is actually finding these 3 cities and the vault itself. Now, if you want to see the process that I took, check out the description for this video. I'll provide a link to a video called "The Quest for the Phantom Spark," and it will actually show you my first time finding all these things and crafting the key, and then putting it into the vault. All right, so okay, let me tell you here, each of these cities have a unique distance from the core. So in my diagram here, I have this little line going across. This is actually exactly drawn to scale, the core being at 0, and the vault, this is actually 1,000 pixels away from the core, which is the same as 1,000 tiles from the core. And the size of the vault is actually shown to scale, and comparing that to Amaroth's over here's arena. And I measured Amaroth's room and his arena. It's actually 70 tiles wide and high, and so that purple block is the exact dimension of Amaroth. The city for the first key card component is drawn to scale. It's roughly around 202 in diameter, and then the second city is roughly around 206 diameter, and then the third is roughly 216. So you can kind of get an idea that each of these cities is fairly large in size, and again, I've drawn them to exact pixel scales so that you can actually see. Now, the reason why I have these distance here is because I managed to figure it out, comparing it from after I've completed my search. And so let me hide this to show you. Okay, obviously, I've already got my Phantom Spark, and I've obviously found each of the locations. And before I actually, found these locations, I didn't know the tile distance. And so that's why I'm providing you this information today, because I actually was able to measure it after the fact. And the way I was able to find my particular cities was because a bunch of viewers from my stream posted on my Discord showing me their locations, And so I looked at their locations, and it's definitely not in a pattern. I mean, I've seen like YouTube videos of some guy saying, oh, you know, his key card components and vault, they were all in like a perfect square formation, and some other guy was saying, oh, he's directly to the right and directly to the left of the Amroth boss, and then directly north and south. Okay, none of that's true. It happened. Maybe it was true for him because it was a coincidence that, you know, they appeared that way. But the correct distance from the core is the correct way of finding each of these cities here. So the screenshots that, you know, some of my viewers posted in my Discord did not show a square. They are all different. They all had different patterns. They weren't actual axial distance from any of the bosses. And so one of the things I was able to determine then is that it's probably radial distance, because it makes sense. You know, for example, like the Ivy boss, it's 900 tiles away from the core. The Asius Wilderness boss, he's 600 tiles away from the core, right? Amroth is 1,100. Morpha is 1,400. The Hide Mother is 330. So each of the bosses actually have a fixed distance away from the core. And I think the way that the developers did this is to ensure that you don't actually get overlaps or a chance of actually losing the point of interest. Because, for example, when I was searching for the Amber Larva, and I know that Amber Larva appears anywhere in the Forgotten Ruins, but because it's not radial based and it's a random, you know, point of interest, it's possible that the and I actually found a world where the Amber Larva point of interest didn't show up at all, and it's quite possible that, you know, some other point of interest covered it up. Maybe Malagaz covered it up, or maybe like Glorm's Path, you know, overrode it. So I think the radial distance logic for placing these cities makes sense, because if you know, like I said, you look at this radial distance from the core, you don't see like an overlap. Maybe the last two cities slightly overlaps, give or take, but not enough to where you actually will lose the entire city or the entire, you know, point of interest itself. All right, so how I was able to find my distance, right? I actually zoomed in here. Sorry, let me show you this map here. I actually zoomed in to see, you know, pixel distance for, say, one of my tiles, right? So this is actually one of my tile, and there's exactly one tile here. And I would zoom out until I can't zoom anymore, right? So if I zoom out too much, I lose the pixel distance. When I zoom in this level, I actually got the pixels. So then what I did was I actually took screenshots of this, and I kept taking screenshots, screen by screen, going all the way out to the cities and to the bosses, right? And then I created this map here that I drew. Oops, let me open up this map again. Where's my map? Here we go. All right, so I was able to piece this together in Photoshop, and then so now this is actually a map that's exactly drawn to scale in my Photoshop. I was able to measure the distance of the core directly to the vault, the center of the vault, and sure enough, it was exactly 1,000 tiles away. And so that kind of confirmed my suspicion that, okay, it's 1,000 tiles. I mean, why would it just be exactly 1,000 tiles? Why not 1,001 or 1,002? It can't be a coincidence I have 1,000, right? And I measured each of these other cities, and they're 1,250, you know, 1,550, and 1,750, and they were pretty equally distanced away from each other, where things can't overlap, and that just makes sense. And I actually shared some of my findings on the official Discord, and other players, you know, measured their city distances or their location distance as well, and basically we all confirmed that it is radial based. So it's not, you know, some triangle formation or square formation or to the left of the boss or to the right. You know, you don't want to just go randomly north, south, east, west of the boss, and that doesn't help, right? You want to actually have some sort of plan. You want to actually have a specific direction to where to find it, and not just randomly search, north, south, west of some boss. And let me take this away, and we'll pull up this map again. So now that you kind of know the distance that I just gave you, right? You can place down, like, say, markers, right? Use the boss markers as a reference point, and the core as a reference point. So here, let's say, like, once you've defeated the boss Amaroth, right, you can actually just zoom in and place like a boss icon there, right? I actually have a portal near it. And then if you notice, like, from my chart, or remember from my chart, the Amaroth is 1,100, and that means that the vault is actually 100 tiles closer to the core from the boss location. And like, while I was searching for this, like, somebody had posted their screenshots, and they also confirmed on Discord, saying, like, hey, our vault is actually closer to the core than Amaroth. So that's where I actually started looking, and that's how I ended up finding him, right? But now that you know this information, you can take, like, say, this question mark here icon as an example, and as a strategy, you can actually go, okay, well, roughly 100 tiles in, and the boss is, his arena is like 70 tiles width or wide in diameter, right? So that means you can go, okay, well, if this is rough size, then that means then the vault is somewhere along here, right? So you can actually kind of like place markers and going around in an arc through the Sunken Sea in an arc around the core. So you can kind of go, like, go place it like this. You can kind of see, right, as this is exactly where I found mine, is 100 tiles or 1,000 tiles away. But if I had known where it was, right, like there, I would end up having to, like, draw these markers like this, and so I would need to know to search through this, right, as a method. Same goes with these other cities. This is, going back to this little distance here, you'll see that the first city with the key card is out past Amaroth, right? So this is my first city right here, and this is actually past Amaroth, and so I would have to probably go on like something like this, right, to find the next city as the major city, basically. But the major city is actually fairly large enough, and so I drew the to scale. You see how the city is actually large, giant large circle, and one of the viewers on my stream actually said that his city is actually twice the size of a regular city. So these are like the regular cities that you'll find in ancient cities, right? And if you compare the metropolis with the key card, it's actually twice the size. And sure enough, like, he was right. And so that also gave me a clue, and I was actually going around trying to find this. And the other major clue, okay, each of the 3 main cities have a unique landmark to them. They will either have like a sunken ship or 4 Yoda-like statues located on the south side of the cities. Okay, the components you need are located at the center of the city, and that this also unique, I guess, mark or unique feature of the city is true. The core is for that houses the each of the components are actually directly in the smack center of the city, and I actually did measure this. The top side and the bottom side actually are equal, and this is actually right in the middle. All right, and I was just saying is that the landmark, the Sunken Ship or 4 Yoda-like statues, not all the cities in your game will be the same. Okay, you could have all 4 or all 3 cities have Yoda statues, or you can actually have all 3 cities have sunken ships. So you're not necessarily gonna get one or the other, which is kind of unfortunate that you might not, you'll miss out on a point of interest if you only get one or the other. But I kind of want to specify that is because other viewers have said that they've gotten like on their world all sunken ships, or another user actually said that they had all Yoda-like statues as a point of interest. So again, check out the video description below where I will link to you my findings and my first time getting all these things. If you want to see what the cities look like, But I'm gonna show you right now in this video. So if you don't want to see the rest of this, then you don't have to. But I do want to go to these cities just to show you what it looks like. All right, let me take this guide away. All right, and I'm going to go show you here. So this is the first city, and the first city here is again located 1250 away from the core, and like I said, it has 4 Yoda-like statues or sunken ship. In this case, I actually have 4 Yoda statues. And one of the things about this city here is that I was able to confirm that it was directly on the south side of the city. Now, if you actually were to boat around this, because it's fairly large, you can actually do that. Let's say hop in the boat here, and one of the other strategy is, now unlike before in the previous version when you're searching for stuff like the amber larva, you couldn't actually just pull up the world map like this and move around, because you might end up hitting a wall or needing to put down bridges, right? But because you can actually boat in this game now, you can actually move around, into like say the dark area. See how like all this, dark area that I haven't explored, I actually can move around while having the mini map open. So this is, or the world map. So this is a strategy is to use here, is just boat around. You'll have uncover as much as you can with your boat, and if you find a city, just follow the edges of the city, go to the south side, and if you see the Yoda statue, then you've got the right one. But if you go to the south side and you don't see the Yoda or the sunken ship, then you've got the wrong city, right? And again, the city also has the other unique feature is that it's going to be twice the size as the other cities, the regular cities, right? So here I'm going to go straight from the south all the way to the center. And like I said, the broken core is always going to be directly in the middle of the city. And I actually got my mining damage all the way up, so I was able to mine through these city walls. And I'll talk about how to do that in a different video. But if you don't have your mining damage up to break through the walls, then you're probably going to have to go through the rest of the city room by room until you find the core room that's in the middle, right? So here is an example of a broken core room, and the center would have the key card component, right? And then to the top left corner or top right corner over here, it's always going to have a shiny little sparkle to the chest to help you find it, and inside this chest will always be the bow component, right? Now this layout happens to be the one for the Yoda-like statues. Now if you actually come across the Sunken Ship version, you're going to probably have a different core room structure, and let me show you that one as well, so you can actually see what to look for. Right. The reason I'm showing you this is I want to help you be able to know what you're looking for, since you might not know. All right. So here I'm going to hop over here to the Sunken Ship, and this right here, I want to point this another feature about this here, or property, right? I think the word I was looking for is property. The other property to this is that this is the Sunken Ship. It might not actually be open out in the water, right? Because this game might generate this giant city on top of a bunch of landmass. So there might be actual landmass covering the front of the city, the front entrance. So if you're like boating around like I did, right, you might actually have to, check the city walls, right, or check the landmass, and then dig through to confirm that the city is actually the Sunken Ship is actually there. And see how like this front here is surrounded by landmass and was actually surrounded by some limestone walls, and so you have to like hop off and then dig through this just to verify. So here this is my third city. So my second city actually had Yoda statues, and again, it didn't actually have the Yoda just sitting out in the open of the water. It actually was covered by landmass here on this side and on this side, right? And I had to dig out. Luckily, I was able to see it from this side over here, but had this been covered with say limestone, I wouldn't have known, that this actually had the Yoda statues. So I would have had to hop off this and cut across this here to make sure that the south side of this metropolis has the 4 Yoda statues before moving on to the next city. I would be able to cross this off my list once I confirm that it does not have the Yoda statues, but it could be covered by land masses. All right, so here let me show you the core for this sunken ship. And luckily I have 2 different point of interest to show you. Otherwise my video would just be showing you only one type of broken core. And so here, let me see how this broken core is different from the other one. And the chest would be on the bottom left corner. Here it doesn't sparkle because I actually accidentally knocked it off, and I actually had to replant the chest for you here to show you. But normally it would actually sparkle, and then if you open it, it will have the bow component, and then here it will have the anomaly, or whatever the key component is. All right, so let me go ahead and show you also the vault. All right, and so that way you can actually see what the vault looks like, and then that way you know what to look for. Let me hop out of this, take this, and then we're going to teleport over to the vault. And then when I actually did this, I saw the vault from the north side, and the vault is actually very small. It's a tiny little island. Okay, and I actually came from the north side, and I actually just went down, boom, 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 lay down my bridges like this. And the reason I was laying down the bridges is because I was using my bridges as markers to indicate, where I've searched and how far, and so I don't miss it, so I don't actually have to cover every single inch between this. See how I've got all these dark areas? I didn't need to explore all of this because I was using my Amber Larva search method. And if you don't know what the Amber Larva search method is, check out my video for that, and it explains to you the search method for finding any point of interest in the game. And with this particular point of interest, it actually had a light beam shining on the chest. Well, the chest was actually sparkling. It wasn't a light beam. It was sparkling and glowing. But once you take out the chest, it no longer glows. So I actually saw the chest, the Titan chest, shine through, sparkle through the vault here. And since I've already taken the chest, it no longer sparkles, of course. But this will show you what to look for here. This is actually the door, and obviously I opened it. And you can tell it's the door based on this point of interest design and property, right? And you'll know the outside is also indestructible, right? And then you'll be able to see the chest in here. And so once you have the key card, you just basically insert it into the door, open it up, and go back here, loot the glyph parchment, and make sure you bring in your 3 components and the octane bars. You'll need 100 octane bars and then 20 ancient gemstones, right? Otherwise, you'll have to go back to your base and craft it. So yeah, this is it. This is all you got to look for. So hopefully, this video helps you, and if it does, please, hit the like and subscribe button. All right, I would really appreciate that. All right, so let me pull up the little diagram again, so then you can actually see the distance, and then good luck. Good luck with your search. Hope you find the bow. All right, I will catch you guys later. Thanks for watching.